Alright, here we go. Where we started my league slash my gym. I'm just going to put my gym in the title, just because. I mean, no particular reason. I like my league a little bit more as a mode, just simply because there's not the whole level up process and all of that, and your players don't. They just don't, automatically level up when you level up. But anyway, as you can tell by the title or anything else, this will be Indiana Pacers, my league slash my gym. I just think that'd be a fun team because I don't know. In real life, you would think, with looking at the roster on paper, that they would, possibly not be as successful as they are, but somehow make it work, I guess. But yeah. This is obviously a post commentary, but or this would be a lot more smooth, as I wouldn't be going from different things as I'm talking. But so just doing this Pacers one, I just thought it'd be fun, and I wanted to show what kind of like my league player I am. As you can see, I kind of like to do a lot more simcast and actually play the game, just because I'm a lazy person that way. And on like different commentaries later, it'll be a tad bit a little bit more smooth, and B, I won't be just talking about random stuff as like the actual gameplay is going on. So you can expect that a little bit better. But this is, like I said, just the introduction, and I kind of messed up while starting it because I just kind of sped through everything, not realizing that I need to have something to talk over. But you can see the first 3 or 4 games, every fourth game, every game I think could be entertaining. I will start either the fourth quarter or just play the second half. I'll either simcast up until the second half and play the second half, or I'll simcast up until the fourth quarter and just play the fourth quarter. Now, against the Pistons, who you're about to see we're about to play, I only did the the fourth quarter, just because I just wanted to go ahead and get this done real quick. As it wouldn't be much of a competition, or not much, I shouldn't say that. It wouldn't be much of a game in my opinion. If we get like the Jazz or something, would have been that exciting. But I like to start in the fourth quarter, second half, because then every single minute means something. So it's not like in the first quarter you make 3 threes in a row. That means pretty much nothing. It just happens to be a highlight that happened. As you can see, if you see any like Sports Center or Inside the NBA on TNT or just anything, as they're going through highlights, very few are in the first or second quarter unless it's someone like Stephen Curry or something like that going off for 20 in a quarter. So, as you can see right now, I'm just kind of going over the roster at this point, thinking that I was going to talk over that, but I've sped through that. Now I'm looking at the contracts. I'm trying to figure out at this point whether I need to clear up some cap space or what to do, because I'm still trying to figure out, do I need to build through like signing different players? Do I build through the draft? Or I don't know yet. So that's what I'm trying to figure out here, and just looking at the rotation. I'm really wanting to try and build Miles Turner into just a really an all-around center, just because I think he has that ability. Watching him at Texas, he's got the dimensions by dimensions. I mean, the height, the physicality, the strength, in my opinion. He's just kind of being forced into this new style of basketball, where it's very, very rare that you'll see someone post up anymore, or the only thing you'll see nowadays is a pick and pop or pick and roll European style of basketball, which I'm particularly not a huge fan of. That's why you'll see Lavoy Allen will get a lot of touches this game, A, because he was open sometimes, and B, because he was on the block and a smaller defender. And I realized early on that Ersan Ilyasova was in foul trouble, so I just went and attacked that and got him out of the game. Not that he was like a huge threat or anything, but just simply because, well, that puts them a man down. So, here we go. I'm starting to load into the game here, but I've noticed that I'm really jumping around as I'm kind of put some commentary on it, and then I'm going to go back, and then I continuously keep going back to listen to it, and I just keep jumping to different things. This is going to sound horrible, but anyway. I'm just going to, for the first couple minutes of the fourth quarter, before I jump into that, this is me showcasing you guys how I play the game. Now, this is the first gameplay at all I've had with an Indiana Pacers roster without the sixth man, I guess you can say. I don't know if you want to call him a sixth man. I guess it depends on who you start. I don't know. And Miles Turner. As I said earlier, we were wanting to build him into something. And as you see, that's just him going to work on the post there, just bullying Ursan Ilyasova and getting him. So he's already at the fifth foul in the early fourth quarter. But as I was saying, just I was looking over the roster earlier, and I'm thinking, do I want to build this realistically or like how they used to, more or less, before this whole idea of everybody go to one team and build up? Which I'm not saying it's like the first, the rare that's ever happened before. It was just I'm a bigger fan of building through the draft, year by year, developing your talent, and then when everybody hits their prime, you obviously hit your peak. Kind of like how the Spurs have done, which you can't say when they hit their prime because these guys have been playing well since ever since Tim Duncan first arrived. The Tim Duncan era, I guess you could call it. But teams like the Spurs where you continuously draft, and then you just develop good young players, and then trade for good young players, and not. I don't want to trade for like Paul George for like Dwayne Wade or something. If you know what I mean. I don't want to make a huge trade like that. I'd rather trade like Jordan Hill or someone like that for a young up and coming guy like a Stanley Johnson. Let's just use for instance. I'm not actually going to make that trade, but what I'm saying, just smaller trades to try and get young potential and just build around that. But that's just what I'm trying to figure out at the moment, how to build. I'll probably end up building through the draft just because that's what I like more. Instead of making these huge trades and huge signings, I'm not going to go out and sign CP3 and just sign CP3 and Dwayne Wade, or also having like a dominant center on the team, like also sign Dwight Howard or something. Just because I'm not a huge fan of that, and I'm going to try to make this kind of realistic. I say kinda because it's not going to be the easiest thing to do, just because sometimes I can get carried away or something. But so we'll be figuring all that out later. But looking at this roster, we have a decent roster. I think what we're going to end up having to do later in the year, I think towards the end or towards the trade deadline, we're going to end up having to trade, I think, maybe our pick for a lower team's pick, depending on just whoever happens to be not doing so well towards them. So, because I think this team can be a sneak in 8th, maybe even a 7th, but according to the start of the year indicates that we can be a top 4 team, because I think we're undefeated even after this game. But I think realistically we can figure about 7th or 8th seed. We'll be lucky to get into a 5th seed in my opinion. But with Paul George back, and if I can get him to have a couple games like he's had in real life, then we might just be a 3rd or 4th seed. I don't know. But I think what we're going to have to do is trade that pick for maybe a lower team's pick, such as like the Orlando Magic. Somehow make that work. Maybe a 1st and a 2nd round pick of ours for their 1st, maybe. Or throw in a player of like a Wayne Eddington, which wouldn't make, or Shane Weddington. I don't know why. I don't even remember what I said. A Shane Weddington into the mix, which really wouldn't make much of a difference. But just a smaller player to put the trade over the edge and not make too many huge moves, so we can possibly get a Scal Labissiere or a Jamal Murray or a Grayson Allen. I don't know if he's in this draft class, the Ripken 523 draft class. But, just try to get some good young talent on this team pretty much, because we're going to be making the playoffs. I can almost guarantee that just from where this roster is already at. It's definitely not a bad roster. So, like I said, probably towards trade deadline, we'll have to trade a pick more than likely. But at times with the Simcast, I'm going to be able to monitor people's play, like specifically, see if they've been, like if the team's losing, and I notice that CJ Miles each time we lose is going 3 for 12, then I'm going to lower his minutes manually. I'm not always going to go to a coach pick out the minutes and stuff based on rating. I'm going to do it based off performance. So that'll be more realistic. I'm not going to continue to start George Hill if he keeps going 0 for 12. You know what I'm saying? So the rotation will more than likely not stay the same at all. Not just because of injuries, but simply because of execution and how they're doing at that point rather than a hot streak or a cold streak. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to make this very realistic. Like I was saying, just many details like the roster and being able to keep people's stats and the trades. Just wanting to build a certain type of way and doing all that. But I think I'm pretty much done talking about the future. I think I might as well go ahead and get into commentating this game. But one last thing, I don't know if I'm going to be keeping Frank Vogel as a head coach. I don't necessarily know his contract, but I don't know if I'm going to keep him on this team as a coach because I think he's a very able coach, but I also think there are many better ones. I think the reason they were able to be successful before was because he's put with a very good, talented roster. But yeah, I guess I can just go ahead and jump into this start commentating the game. By the way, warning, I could very easily stutter because right now I'm not necessarily in my element, I guess we can say. Or I might mess up, just excuse that. And let's go ahead and start this. Monte Ellis with the ball top of the key, trying to make a move on Jody Meeks. Screen coming here from Lavoy Allen. Ellis tries to push Meeks into the screen. It doesn't work, but it doesn't matter because one of the Marcus Morris will be caught in the lane for a 3-second violation. And Paul George will be going to the line for the free throw, and he will get the lucky bounce, get that one to fall in. As the Pacers are going to be setting up in a half-court offense here, inbounding the ball. Lavoy Allen throws it into Paul George. He's at the top of the key, going to be driving half spin, try to get around Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson showing how good of a defender he is. Isolation here for Paul George. Time running down the shot clock has nothing to do. He's going to have to throw one up here. Has to throw up a fadeaway, and that will not fall. Stanley Johnson gets the rebound. He's going to try to push the pace here. George Hill tries to cut him off. Will do so. They're going to set up an offense. Gets it to Jody Meeks. He's going to drive left. Try to go baseline, maybe kicks it over to Morris off the pick and pop, and he'll miss the 18-foot jump shot. Paul George gets the ball from George Hill, and Paul George will pull up for the jumper, and he'll get it to go on the offensive side on the break. The Pistons have struggled here defensively. I mean, I don't know how well you can do defensively when you have scorers that are really showing what true talent they have, such as C.J. Miles, who no one really thought could continuously average 18 to 20, but is suddenly doing that and really showing how good of a scorer he is. And then you got Monte Ellis and Paul George as well. Speaking of Monte Ellis, has the ball at the top of the key. He's going to pass it over to Lavoy Allen, who's going to try to post up, try to dish it in. Jordan Hill is going to be knocked down by Drummond. He's going to hand it off to Reggie Jackson. He's taking it up the floor. Right down the middle of the floor as he gets it to Morris on the right elbow. He might post up, but instead he kicks it out to Reggie Jackson. Over to Drummond on the left wing. Drummond drives, has to pick up his dribble. Passes up to Jody Meeks with a nice one-handed dish to Morris inside. He'll get the layup to go over Paul George. That's a really nice pass there from former UK alum Jody Meeks. George Hill with it now, again at the top of the key. Passes it to Lavoy Allen. He's going to spin past Morris and gets inside and one as he's fouled by Morris. That's very unwise decision there, as he is already up to his 5th foul, as well as he's already been able to foul out Ersan Ilyasova not too long ago. Jody Meeks with it. They're going to have him bring it up instead of Reggie Jackson. Maybe get Reggie Jackson to do some off-ball movement. A screen from Drummond as he passed over to the devil himself. Speaking of the man himself, Reggie Jackson. He gets on the left wing, tries to drive, gets to the left elbow, dumps it into Drummond, who's going to put up the kind of a fadeaway hook there, misses it. The boy Adams rebound pushed it up to Paul George, who's trying to make a move on Stanley Johnson. Not been able to do it, so they're going to slow down. But he does spin past and puts up a very difficult shot. Could have also been called for a foul there, but I guess not. That could be called either way, I guess. Reggie Jackson with it now, calling a play. He's trying to get his team to move around just a little bit. George Hill guarded it nicely. I think I said George Hill anyway. Morris with it on the left wing. He's going to spin, pull up, elbow jumper, gets it to go. As that'll cut the lead down to 12, but I don't think it's really going to matter what they cut down to because they're going to go to a full court press, and that's not going to be able to stop this Indiana Pacers offense on the break. Now, coming back and editing this, I just want to say real quick, I don't know why, but it did cut off the last couple minutes. We did end up winning. I think I put in the box score later in the video, but I want to go and tell you that right after this jumper, and as George Hill starts to push it up, it does cut it off, and then it's going to cut to the box score. I don't know why it cut off the end of the video. I guess it exceeded 15 minutes, as you can see. then just have a look at the dominant scorers, Paul George and C.J. Miles and George Hill as usual. Jordan Hill with a nice double-double as long as Lavoy out. But I hope you enjoyed and have a good day and see you.